Hello, everyone, and welcome to another edition of Interviewing the Legends. I'm your host, Ray Shasho, with distortion cranked, synths warm, and no regard for the rules. Fastest land animal, tap into the eternal power of three equally committed and possibly crazed kindred spirits. In this case, the trio, Screamin Jack Novak, aka John Cusimano, Alfonse Castillo on guitar, on bass, aka Johnny Blaze, and Shark Samuels, aka Andrew Meskin on drums, crash land at full speed into the intersection of glorious gutter punk, revved up rock and roll, and off-kilter pop. This slick yet sharp style continues to captivate a growing fan base with nearly 10 million YouTube views and counting, and acclaim from the likes of RIFF Magazine and more. However, the only amplify ever aspect of their vision on their 2023 second full length LP, East Coast, West Coast, in between. As the story goes, these old friends logged time in previous bands, performing alongside everyone from Motley Crue to Alice Cooper. However, the musician bared their teeth with their self titled debut, Fastest Land Animal, in 2021. They rallied around influences as diverse as the Velvet Underground, David Bowie, Foo Fighters, Queens of the Stone Age, Rage Against the Machine, and the Ramones in the cultivation of a singular vision. They parlay this momentum into a prolific creative season despite the distance between them, with Jack in New York, Alphonse in Arizona, and Shark in Texas. How is this possible? Beaming in Los Angeles, bass producer Don Gilmore, the group tracked East Coast, West Coast, in between via Zoom. This time around, they increased the presence of an analog synths, leaned on Gilmore's impeccable tone selection, and even broke their own no song slower than 150 BPM rule. Ladies and gentlemen, please welcome singer-songwriter, multi-instrumentalist, formerly of New York-based indie rock group The Cringe, who is also married to American chef and television personality Rachael Ray, Screamin Jack Novak, aka John Cusimano, a fastest land animal, who was born of a jackal, raised by his father, a nanny, and two irresistible Rottweilers. Hello there.
Uh, there's nothing left to ask me. You pretty much answered all the questions ahead of time, right?
We're done, man.
Uh,
First of all, I got to say, man, with a wife that's a chef, you're kind of a gourmet as well. You're Italian. How come you're not big as a house?
well, this is the beauty of the Zoom like touch up
Oh, is that what it is?
water. Yeah, there's a hack that it makes you skinny too if you know how to use it.
I need one of those,
Well,
man.
I eat. I'm lucky to be married to Rachel Ray, and I
Hmm.
do eat fantastic food. But we eat healthy. I mean, she makes good pasta dishes, and
Right.
healthy proteins, and I mean, she makes pretty much everything. But we don't eat a lot of fast food. We don't eat a lot of junk food. It's basically good, healthy meals. I don't want to say the Mediterranean diet because
Hmm.
she cooks and we both eat a lot, broader cuisines than just the Mediterranean diet. But that's, we're both Italian, so that's a lot of principally the food we eat. So it's healthy, and we all, very active lifestyles, and I'm running around on stage, she's running around and
Right.
on TV, and so I guess that helps keep us somewhat fit.
Yeah, my problem. I'm a writer, and I've written a few books, and
Sedentary lifestyle, right?
I'm always sitting down, man.
Yeah.
I don't get around too much.
So you get one of those standing desks.
Yeah, that's me.
That's no
And
fun.
I've got Italian blood as well. My family actually came from Naples on my father's side, and they went to Syria.
Oh
They're,
wow.
they migrated to Syria, and on my mom's side, Cuban, but they came from Spain. And as a matter of fact, I got my grandfather was from Catalonia, and I think one of your grandparents, right, was from Catalonia.
Yeah, I think we must be, we're probably related somehow. So
Yeah.
my mother's side of the family is from Naples,
Mm-hmm.
My father's side of the family is from Sicily, but my grandmother, my father's mother's maiden name was Catalano, which
Right.
means someone in the family was from there. So
Yeah. And
probably,
they speak Catalan, right? They have a different language altogether, I think.
yeah. Well, they've been my grandparents have been long gone, unfortunately. But I never met the Catalan relative. We just the name Catalano makes you think that there was someone from Spain there, but I never met
Sure.
this person. Could be like a great uncle or something.
Yeah. I just talked to Ray Alder from remember Fates Warning, a lead
Yeah,
singer from that band. He's living in Spain now, as a matter of fact.
good for him.
Yeah, that's pretty cool. You got some dates coming up in Florida, man. You got
Yeah,
the House of
tomorrow.
Blues, right?
Yeah, we're playing. I don't know when this is gonna, or this interview is gonna run, but we're playing this weekend at House of Blues 2 nights with our good friends in Tesla.
Yep, I know Tesla.
Yeah, we've been touring as Fastest Land Animal, and then before Fastest Land Animal as my prior band, The Cringe.
Right.
We on the road with the guys in Tesla on and off for a few years now. Before the pandemic, and then they were the first guys we went out with after the COVID,
Mm-hmm.
lockdowns ended, and we were allowed to go back out on the road, and the venues opened up again.
Yeah, I
So
had Brian Wheat on the show from Tesla. He's a good
yeah,
guy.
Brian's a good
Yeah.
buddy of mine. In
Yeah.
fact, Rachel and I have a house in Italy, and Brian has a house like 20, 30 minutes from our house in Italy. So
Awesome.
he comes over for dinner regularly, and he loves Rachel's cooking as well.
Oh yeah, who doesn't?
Yeah, I'll see Brian tomorrow.
But you'll be in Lake Buena Vista 2 nights,
Yeah.
the 5th and the 6th, and also then from there, I guess you go to Omaha. Do you got more dates coming up?
Yeah, we're working on it. It's just the dates kind of come in sometimes pretty quickly ahead of when they happen.
Mm-hmm.
So sometimes it's a last minute scramble. But
Right.
yeah, we're taking a couple weeks off. I have to have shoulder surgery next week. I
I've had
tore my
that.
tore the rotator cuff.
Yeah.
So the good news is in this band, I don't play guitar or in some of my other bands I'll play guitar or keyboards. I'm a pretty good keyboard player,
Mm-hmm.
guitarist, and I play banjo as well. But in this band, I'm just front man, lead singer guy, so I don't really need the left arm that much. So it's okay. Although I've been told my golf season this year is not going to happen.
It's tough, man. I had the surgery. I've got plates and screws, and
Oh, you got big surgery.
yeah, and I can't play golf. It really bothers me.
Oh, that's too bad, man. Yeah, I'm getting I tore a rotator cuff,
Yeah.
so doing arthroscopic surgery.
Well, that's
It's,
good. That's a lot
gonna be,
less invasive.
yeah, a lot. It
Yeah.
doesn't, but it's still gonna keep me off the golf course for a couple months or so. But
Yeah.
what are you
Wow.
gonna do?
What are you
Luckily,
gonna
no
do?
one's paying me to play golf, so
Rehab. That's what it's all about. Yeah. Let me tell you, man, you are so multi-talented. The way you played banjo, during the lockdown on Zoom, you're incredible, man. I
thank
love
you.
those videos, by the way. Those lockdown videos.
Yeah, those kind of kept us alive. And between we ended up doing Rachel's show from home with me being the camera guy and the lighting guy and because there was no one else there. It was just
Right.
Rachel and then yeah, we started doing these lockdown videos with remotely with the guys and some of the gals in the band. I have several projects. I have this cover band called Emporio, and
Hmm.
those were those people, and Fastest Land Animal people were in there too.
And the
But
cringe. You had some cringe guys too.
we had the Fringe guys. It was
Yeah.
big extended musical family. And then in the middle of this is like May 2020. Our dog Isabu passed away. Unfortunately, that was very
Mm.
sad.
Yeah.
And I remember it was August 9th, 2020. We were working from home, filming and doing the videos, and then our house burnt down.
You're kidding me.
Oh,
Oh my
not kidding.
God. How did that happen?
There was creosote buildup in the chimney, which I don't understand how that happened, because we had the chimney serviced. You're supposed to get it serviced every 6 months. We were doing that. So, but be that as it may, there was someone in our backyard, like riding an ATV or something. We have some ATV paths near our house. This is in upstate New York right now. I'm in New York City, but this dude comes banging on our back door, and I've never seen anyone in our backyard. He goes, your roof's on fire. I'm like, what? And I look outside. Sure enough, the roof's on fire. So I'm like, come on, we gotta go. Packed up. We had our new dog Bella.
Right.
At the time, we just gotten her like 2 months before. Packed up everyone in the car. Drove. We have a little guest house across the street. Drove to the guest house, but we're so remote in our upstate home that it took like an hour for the firefighters to get water up that hill. And while they were, scrambling to get water, the fire got worse and worse and worse until the house is destroyed, all gone.
Oh my God. You're lucky that guy came by though and warned you, huh?
Oh, we would have, thankfully no people or animals were injured or killed in the fire, but we lost all our stuff. For some reason, my home studio is above the garage, and that's it's connected by an upstairs breezeway hallway, but it's a separate structure technically. So the fire went right up to my studio door and didn't go any farther. So my studio was spared pretty much. And all my gear, which, that would have been a nightmare. But yeah, the house was a complete rebuild. God. And it took about over a year to rebuild it. And we pivoted and we did all the videos and the TV show from the guest house for the next year.
I didn't know that. I'm sorry to hear about that, man. That sucks.
But house is rebuilt now. We're all good and everything's up.
Good. Let me tell you, man, I'm giving 5 stars to East Coast, West Coast, in between. That's a great album.
Thanks a lot, man.
And it's fun. It's a fun album. It really is.
And that's the whole idea of this band is, you were reading our bios, we just made those up, obviously.
Yeah, it's cool.
And the genesis of the band was during pandemic. So we couldn't tour, and, we normally would go into a studio together and record an album like you do. So, out of necessity, we wanted to record an album, and I had a bunch of songs that I had written. And I said, let's do this. We all have home studios. Let's record remotely. This was the first album. This is back in 2020. And we did that, and it was actually a real efficient way of working in that, we would discuss different parts. Then we'd all go back to our studios, work on the parts, and bring them back together and just, talk about it virtually like we're doing right now. And it ended up being really good. And I was working with Don. We were doing like we could do the vocals for the entire album in like less than a week, because we work really efficiently together. And Don, he's great when he's producing vocals, producing everything. Anyway, so the lockdown had ended, and wanted to do another album, and I said, let's just do it again this way, instead of like having people schlep and stay in hotels, because we're all over the country, hence the name East Coast, West Coast, in between. Right. So we did it again that way, and it, it's still a real efficient way of working. And the idea about the band being fun, when we started it, I thought, especially since we couldn't do any gigs, because we were in lockdown, I said, let's make up all fake names and have this be like a band and release the album and just see what people think of it, not knowing who we are,
right?
And have no preconceived notions coming into the album. And we did that. And if I had it my way, I'd still be incognito and not let anyone know who I am, just because it's kind of fun. But we got really good people were listening to the album, and we got messages and all these and DMs, and people were posting, who are these guys? Is this we were thrilled to have comparisons, but to these bands, but they were saying, is this the Eagles of death metal, or the dudes from Queens of the Stone Age, who are these people? And then I did have to let the cat out of the bag. A friend of mine, his name's Gary Delabate. He's the producer of the Howard Stern Show. Yeah. And he has a show on his own, called the Wrap-Up Show, and I was lucky enough to be invited to be on that show. And at that point, I had to let hi, this is not Screamin Jack Novak. It's John Cusimano. But were it not for that, I probably would still, I'd be here with like a black bar across my eyes or something.
Oh, it's a great band, man. It really is. I enjoyed every track. Some of the tracks on the album I want to talk about. I was a top 40 DJ back in the late 70s. So
Oh,
I,
nice.
I can
Hey,
pick
you
hits.
don't look that old.
Yeah, I'm 64.
Wow.
Yeah, man. I've been around. Kid of the 60s. I'm telling you, if top 40 was only the way it used to be, there was a lot of hits on this album. Like Run and Hide, that would have been a top 40 hit for sure.
That's become our set opener.
Yeah,
Yeah, thanks. That's a lot of fun. All those songs are fun to
they're
perform.
fun. Yeah. Getaway Car. You know what that sounds like a little bit, some of the song? So I don't know if you might be too young for this, but you remember a band called the Castaways? They did a song called Liar Liar. Liar Liar, your pants is all fire. You got a nose like a telephone. Back in the
No,
60s.
I'm pretty good with music, even music from the '60s. I don't know that band.
Listen to the Castaways. It's like the beginning of the song sounds like Liar Liar, that song. It's really cool. It's cool to hear it come back again, that kind of vibe. As a matter of fact, some of these songs, like Out of Range, kind of sound 60-ish.
Yeah,
And I think there's a new genre here, punk pop.
I like it. I take it. Yeah, I mean, we're really the idea with the band, the Fastest Land Down, was do something. My prior band, The Cringe, was a little more rooted in, let's say, like classic rock meets grunge sort of thing, and then
Right.
Fastest Land Animal, as you alluded to earlier, we didn't allude to, we actually stated it. We were writing songs that were all at least 150 beats per minute, which is pretty quick tempo song. And then I love punk. I grew up listening to punk and then new wave. So I wanted to have something that was sort of in the punk rock genre.
Mm-hmm.
And then this latest album, East Coast, West Coast, in between, I even dialed up the new wave influences even more on this album. That's why it's there's a lot of vintage analog synth work on that and that kind of stuff.
Well, your voice is on every track.
Yeah, I'm the only singer on the album. Because
you really fluctuate with your sound. You sound different on a lot of tracks, very different. Like, for instance, My Mistake. You kind of sounded like Alice Cooper a little bit in the intro of that track,
I love Alice. We were lucky enough to tour with Alice and Molly for like a year and a half all over North America. So yeah, maybe some of his singing rubbed off on me. I don't know. But yeah, I was trying to not quite the extent or the technique of someone like Mike Patton, but they call Mike Patton the singer with 1,000 voices. Mm-hmm. So I had maybe 3 voices on this. I had my normal voice, and then I had the more raspy, gravelly voice on My Mistake. But then I also have this like falsetto voice when I sing up here like this.
Right.
So that was just following the Screamin Jack Novak. I'm not really me. I'm playing a character. that all ties into that as well.
Yeah, Cowboys in Nashville. That sounded like a tough song to sing.
Yeah, that is a throat scorcher. And, we put that towards the end of the set because it's really gravelly. I was almost. It's not really there's a thing called the Cookie Monster vocals, which you'll hear on
I like that.
Wasn't quite that, but I was trying to, lean in that direction. There's a song, I actually wrote this song about 15 years ago. We needed another song on the album, and I was going through all these demos that I've been recording over the years, and this song came up, and I said, this is probably a good Fastest Land Animal song. But it does, now that it's finished, it does remind me a bit of a song by the Foo Fighters called White Limo.
Mm-hmm.
It's on their Wasting Light album.
Right.
And it's, Dave Grohl screaming, and just, really loud, hoarse, distorted vocals. You have no idea what the heck he's saying. It doesn't matter.
It doesn't matter. Yeah.
So, and then it has a sort of a prettier, still gnarly, but a prettier chorus
Right.
with these really rugged, tough sounding verses. So that's kind of that. Cowboys in Nashville has that vibe where the verses are really gnarly, really nasty, and then the chorus is a little more melodic. But yeah, so that was I was happy the way that came out. And that's a fun song to play live too. I use a megaphone to kind of distort my voice, and
Very cool.
yeah.
And then again, your voice gets high again at high pitch with perfectly honest. Then again, you change direction again. You know which song really spotlights your great voice is Mercy Kiss.
Yeah, we broke the rule, the 150 beat per minute
Right.
rule with the song. But I figured, it's not really a ballad. It's still 130, I think, 130 beats per minute. So it's still, moderately quick, fast. But it has this almost this arena ballad kind of vibe to it. Like, people holding up their phones with the lights on and waving their arms back and forth. And I felt like the album, it was a little different than all the other songs on the album, and certainly different from all the songs on the first album. But I like that, to have that moment in the album.
Sure.
Where, you sort of, it's a little more dramatic.
Right.
And, so I liked that. That's not necessarily, we're not going to do a lot of songs like that, in the future. But I think it's kind of cool to have a little dramatic pause at some point in the album, just because I like the idea of listening to an album from beginning to end, and have sequencing being right.
Sure.
That's sort of that's towards the end of the album, almost like a little quiet moment, and then the final song is off to the races again.
Yeah, you don't want the whole album going like the Sex Pistols or something. You don't want that. Like you said, you need a pause. That's probably my favorite song is Mercy Kiss. Yeah, it's well done. I love it.
Yeah, it's a real, passionate song to sing, and really emote as it
right.
were.
Rubber Meets the Road kind of had a Ramones kind of type of chant, that kind of Ramones chant. And I like
yeah, I know what you mean.
I like
that was
that.
Don Gilmore's idea. I'd written this chorus and this verse, very similar kind of, almost like a junked out vibe to it. And Don, I said, Don, we need like another part. I don't know if it's a bridge or something. And he said, let's try this. Like, you go, whatever I'm singing there, like a chant, and we'll just track that over and over and over again, so it sounds like a crowd.
Right.
And he made that comparison. He goes, it's almost like a Ramones kind of vibe.
Yep.
That song was fun because so my studio is above my garage, and then in my cellar in the basement of the house, I have an upright piano. But when we had the fire, I was able to redo some of the wiring. So I wired from the studio. There's a tie line that goes down to the cellar, and I have mics. So that piano in the cellar is all mic, so I can play actual, real, live, acoustic piano on the track, and in the studio. And I played on the track. You can hear I'm banging like just an octave, ding, 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 ding.
This album's very clear, engineered perfectly, produced incredibly. I mean, it's for you guys to do this the way you did. It sounds fantastic. It really does.
Don Gilmore's, everyone in the band's I'm probably the least technically proficient.
But
the other two guys are really good in the studio, so they know how to mic. Shark knows how to mic those drums like a pro.
Yep.
And same thing with Alfonse. He's got a really killer selection of amps and guitars. He knows what he's doing, how to get good tones out of there. And then you got Don Gilmore, who's
legend
producer. Yeah. And then we had the album. Chris Lord Alge mixed the album, and he's probably, if you look at your record collection, he's mixed maybe half of the records you own, rock records.
Exactly. It's great to have a good team behind you. It really is. Like George Martin, man. And George Martin made the Beatles. If it wasn't for George Martin, there would be no Beatles, man. I'm telling you.
He's a lot different. I mean, he kind of invented the
Yes,
role of a rock producer, much like
exactly.
invented what a rock band is.
Exactly. Well, for your debut album, you got some great songs on there too. I think it's awesome that you guys put so many official videos on YouTube. That's great. People love that, you
Yeah,
know?
that's again, that is our drummer Shark. He's really good with the online and the social media and all that kind of stuff.
Yeah.
And those first couple of videos from that album, there's the one with sock
I
puppets.
know. I was
Uh,
going to mention that.
yeah, that was he did that video because we couldn't get together because there was COVID, we couldn't travel.
It's
So and we
funny.
also wanted to be incognito, so we didn't want to appear in our videos anyway.
Right.
So we had this brilliant idea of doing sock puppets. So that's all he filmed that whole thing at home with I think it's him and his wife's hands in the puppets.
That's hilarious.
Uh,
I was going to
that,
say, with all the money you guys have, that's what you came up with.
punk rock is like a DIY thing. You can't, spend a lot of money on a punk rock
I
video.
know. I know. It was funny. Too close to the fire. It's funny. There was a comment on YouTube about that song. It said, it's definitely a song to get a speeding ticket to. I thought that was funny. I
Well,
wanted to mention
I
that.
don't want anyone driving dangerously, but if it does cause you to put the pedal to the metal or whatever, then that's a compliment.
That was a good album, too. Excellent album. So, what's going on with the cringe? Is the cringe done, or are you going to do something else?
I never say done, but
Right.
I've just been having so much fun with Fastest Land Animal, and it's a lot. In the cringe, I typically play rhythm guitar and sing at the same time,
Right.
um, and I just feel so liberated by not having to play guitar. It's just one less thing you have to deal with at sound check,
Hmm.
um, and I can really engage the crowd and just be like frontman guy.
Right.
Uh, and whereas if you're playing, rhythm guitar, you kind of you have to when you're playing and singing, you sort of have to stand behind that mic stand because unless you have like a headset mic or something, which I don't know, that's doesn't seem very punk rock to me. But so I love the freedom that I get with just all I have to worry about is my microphone and engaging the crowd. And I love singing these, these fast songs are really fun and energetic. So yeah, I think for now we're just the next album I do is going to be definitely going to be Fastest Land Animal record, and we're working on dates, through
Yeah.
2024. We're looking to go to Europe.
Oh, wow. Great.
Yeah, so that's all in the works.
Yeah, I love the band, man. It's a great band. How did you come up with the name?
I've had that name just kicking around my brain for years,
Hmm.
and since I started the Cringe, like almost from the very beginning when we did our first album, I was like, I hate this name, the Cringe. It's like it's kind of has a bit of a negative connotation,
Right.
but I guess it's cool. So but it was too late. The toothpaste was already out of the tube, so we just kept running with it. But I
Right.
always had this idea, this band, like I picture this Fastest Land Animal. Songs will be fast. It'll be like more of a punk rock kind of thing. Um, and then I just, when we were in lockdown, I'm like, screw it, let's do Fastest Land Animal record. And I Googled the name. No other band had used it. So I'm like, cool, it's mine. My name now.
Good.
Can't have.
It's a great name, man. So many bands I interview, especially the prog bands. You look all around the internet. There's four other bands with the same name. That's got to drive them crazy.
Yeah, that happens even with the Cringe early, really early on. We had already released at least our first record at that point, and then some other band came up and they were Cringe instead of the Cringe. They were Cringe.
Right.
So we put a stop to that.
I got to mention, man, and once again, the quarantine edition. People need to go on YouTube because you guys play so well together. You did a fantastic version of "The Chain" by Fleetwood Mac.
Oh, thanks.
Awesome cover. Rachel
She's
Ray is on some of your songs, and I didn't know she could sing that good.
she's a talented
She is.
person. You know, she loves singing. She's really musical and she loves dancing. Um, and luckily for me, she loves cooking.
Man, without you, the cover of, she sings on that.
Yep,
Um, like you said, she looks like she loves to sing. And a
she
lot of
does.
people love her voice too. Don't Go Breaking My Heart. What a great cover on that.
Yeah, Elton John and Kiki D. It's
Oh
funny
my
because
gosh.
the other night we just did a rap party for the show
Right.
with Rachael and all of her crew and everyone involved with the show. You know, it was about a couple hundred people there, and
Hmm.
everyone that you see in those quarantine videos, we did like a 2 hour concert live.
Oh wow.
Everyone in the at a bowling alley, a really cool bowling
Really?
alley in Brooklyn. Yeah. And we played for like 2 hours, and we did all the songs you mentioned. We did all those. We did a whole bunch more. So that was a blast.
Very talented group, man. Burning Down the House, another great cover.
Oh yeah,
I want to give a little shout out to Elaine Caswell because that Christmas rapping song, she nailed it.
she's awesome. Elaine is, she lives like a few blocks from me here in New York, and
Really?
yeah, she and the drummer in the band, his name, there's two drummers in those quarantine videos.
Mm-hmm.
Uh, Sean is one of the drummers, but he often plays mandolin.
Mm-hmm.
And then Andrew Meskin, who's also Shark Samuels in FLA, he's the other drummer in the
Right.
band. But so when we perform together as Emporio, we got two drummers going at once, which is a lot of fun. But yeah, Elaine and Sean have been a couple for quite a while now. So they,
Hmm.
I'll walk over his house in the middle of the day with my banjo, and we'll have we call it a hootenanny, when we just like
Right.
play a whole bunch of bluegrass versions of like pop and rock songs.
Yeah, banjo's got to be tough. I play some guitar, and I don't think I can play the banjo. You know?
Different thing. Well, the
Yeah.
tuning's open. A normal banjo tuning is an open G tuning, although you can change that.
Right.
Uh, but it depends what style banjo you're going to play. There's two main styles. There's claw hammer,
Mm-hmm.
which is you're banging on the fret like this,
Right.
and then there's more the Scruggs style finger picking,
Right.
which is what I'm focused on, and that's like Foggy Mountain Breakdown
Mm-hmm.
and dueling banjos. That's you doing these thumb rolls, and you have three fingers or have picks on them, kind of like this,
Yeah.
and then you just gotta.
Right.
It's a good like lockdown gave me a lot of time to just sit there and practice those thumb rolls over and over and over again, the finger
Good
picking,
stuff.
and then it just becomes second nature at some
Yeah.
point.
I had John McEwen on the show,
Oh,
from Nitty Gritty Dirt Band, and his
yeah.
best friend is Steve Martin.
Steve
They
Martin's
were.
an unbelievable banjo
He,
player.
he is. He's great.
Guy's a renaissance man. He does everything.
Yeah. You should play with him one day.
I would love to. He most people either they gravitate to the claw hammer style or the finger picking style, but
Right.
they don't do both. Like Bella Fleck and Abigail Washburn, they're married,
Mm-hmm.
and she's a claw hammer player, and she doesn't really do finger picking, and he's the opposite. He does finger picking, he doesn't really do claw hammer. But Steve Martin can do both, and he does both of them great. So I'm impressed.
Yeah. Yeah. He's great. Um, your favorite drink, is it still Lost in the Woods? The Lost in the Woods cocktail?
That's a really good one. I mean, typically, if I'm gonna have a cocktail,
Okay.
I'll probably just have like a Scotch on the rocks, like a Johnny Walker Black or something on the
Right.
rock. But I do make a mean martini.
Ooh, I love martinis.
Yeah. I use 3 parts gin to 1 part dry vermouth, 2 dashes of orange bitters. Always stir, never shaken, because you want it to be nice and clear
Yeah.
and not like you know foamy or bubbly.
Right.
Uh, and then I'll serve it up in a really cold martini glass with olives or a twist or whatever you'd like. But
Yeah.
yeah, I do love I'm in Italy. I'm having a Negroni. I love a Negroni. Um, yeah, man, there's so many cocktails out there that I love to do.
I was
I went
actually
to
a
this.
bartender at one time.
Oh yeah,
I went through
so you
school and all that.
know
Yeah.
what to do.
Yeah.
Yeah, I had this really great cocktail out for Thai food for lunch yesterday with my wife, and this place just around the corner from our apartment. And I had this cocktail that it was fig and green peppercorn, gin, lemon juice, and Aperol.
That's
And
different.
then they put like a foaming agent, probably aquafaba, which is normally if you want to foam a drink, you put like an egg white in it.
Right.
Shake it with the egg white, and it'll really put a nice foam on top.
Mm.
But a lot of people are not cool with having raw egg whites, so you can use aquafaba, which is chickpea water, basically. So if you cook chickpeas, there's the water, or if you get them in the can, use that water. You put a little bit of that in the drink, and it will foam. No flavor, won't impart any weird flavor to the drink, and it will foam it up just like an egg white.
Interesting.
And it's vegan if that's your thing.
No, I like meat. my wife and I are thinking about going to Italy soon. I was thinking about going to, is it Positano?
Positano.
Positano. What do you think of that place?
It's beautiful. It's on the Amalfi Coast.
Right.
And there's a bunch of little towns. I mean, you're overlooking this beautiful sea.
Right. I saw the YouTube video.
Yeah, they're all built into cliff sides.
Yep.
So it all looks like wedding cakes. Positano is a beautiful town. And then as long as you're there, a few miles south of Positano, but up at near the top of these big hills and cliffs, is a town called Ravello, which is really.
We're
is really close to there, but I haven't really. Usually, if I'm in the Naples area, I'll go down to the coast, the Amalfi Coast.
Yeah, I like how there's hotels and restaurants on that big mountain cliff or whatever you would call it, big hill, and then you walk all the way down to the beach. That's pretty cool.
Yeah, we stayed in this hotel where they have the hotel is so high up that there's a little elevator built into the cliffside that you take to go down.
Very cool.
Yeah, it's cool.
Yeah, that's our next trip. I know you got to catch a plane. Here's your final question.
Oh, okay.
Okay. I ask everybody this question. I get some very interesting answers. If you had a Field of Dreams wish, like the movie, to perform with or collaborate with anyone from the past or present, who would that be?
I'm going to say the Beatles, John Lennon, Paul McCartney, and George, Ringo, any of them.
Any of the Beatles.
God, I can't imagine. Although, performing with the Beatles, like I would just get in their way. Maybe I'd just collaborate with one of them, like John Lennon or something, or Paul. Because you can't be unless you're Billy Preston, you can't be the fifth Beatle.
Yeah.
Or I'd love to just have a hootenanny with a hoedown with Steve Martin too. That'd be great.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Or hang out with the Foo Fighters. I could see you doing that.
Oh, absolutely, man. Dave Grohl just seems like such a blast to hang out with, and really musical.
Yeah.
Get a lot of stuff done. But I'm going to be collaborating with my buddy Brian Wheat pretty soon.
Awesome. Tell him I said hello. We did an interview way back when. Good guy. Yeah. Thank you, man, for being on the show today. I really appreciate it. I know you're under the gun going, you're traveling somewhere. Where are you going to anyway?
We're going to Orlando to play these gigs.
Oh, that's right. That's tomorrow.
Yeah,
I'm about an hour and a half from Orlando.
Come to the gig if you want.
I know. I should. I'm going to try.
Yeah, let us know, and we'll put you on the list if you want to.
Okay. Very cool.
All right, Ray, man, I appreciate everything.
Thank you, man. And I just want to mention, purchase the latest release, Fastest Land Animals, East Coast, West Coast, in between. You can go to www.fastestlandanimal.band or Amazon.com. And I just want to say very special thanks to Jody Best of Best Bet Promotions for arranging this interview with Screamin Jack Novak.
Jody Best is the best.
All right, man. Have a good trip, and have a good show in Orlando.
I appreciate it. We'll see you out on the road, buddy.
All right, man. Take care.
Bye-bye.